Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal in-depth look at the SRT Viper GTS. In this review, we'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. We'll take it on a thorough drive both on the road and the track, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. This particular Viper is actually my personal car that I bought a few weeks or so ago. A lot of you guys have already seen that awesome reveal video that my good friend Chris put together, and if you haven't yet, be sure to check it out. The link is in the top right hand corner of the video. But I've driven this about 1,000 miles since I bought it. I've loved absolutely every minute of it, and I've been dying to put this video together, so I really hope you guys enjoy. A special mention to the North Carolina Center for Automotive Research for allowing us to use their track. For more information about the facility and services offered, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, let her run.
This exterior color is known as Adrenaline Red, while the interior features sepia premium leather upholstery, a part of the Laguna interior package, which adds leather to every conceivable surface along with an Alcantara headliner. It was a $7,500 option exclusive to the GTS. So the Viper does come standard with a remote access smart key system, but it works a little bit differently than the rest of Chrysler's latest products. Basically, it works just like a Corvette. You keep the key fob in your pocket, you walk up to the door, the proximity sensors detect you, you press in the door handle, and the electrically operated latches automatically release. The difference with the other Chrysler products is the fact that you can't lock it from the outside. There's no additional buttons or anything like that. So to lock it, you still have to use the key fob, but it definitely adds a bit of convenience. Inside, push-button ignition, of course, is standard equipment. Again, just keep the key fob on you, and to start, just put your foot on the brake and clutch, and hit it to go. The 5th generation Viper uses rack and pinion steering with hydraulic power assistance. It's routed through a thick and robust 3-spoke steering wheel with large upper and lower grip bolsters and a flat bottom design. The overall ratio is 16.7 to 1 and it takes 2.4 turns to lock. Those figures are identical to the 4th generation Viper, but with a new steering gear, the new car delivers better road feel and greater precision. The turning circle is measured at 40.5 feet. As I'll talk about later on, torsional rigidity has also been upped quite a bit, and there's a wider front track. Even though much of the general hardware carries over from the previous Viper, what changes they did make created a car that inspires a lot more confidence, with steering that's both communicative and direct. Wider tires all the way around also offer tons of grip. As I've said before, this is a car I've always dreamed of owning someday. Having driven so many incredible sports cars in the last few years, people often ask why I chose a Viper over everything else. It's really quite simple. This is easily the most entertaining car I've ever driven. Not only does it react to your slightest movement with immediacy and without hesitation, but driving a Viper is an experience all its own that just can't be matched. There's no denying the refinement of this car over previous Vipers, but it hasn't lost that characteristic rawness. One of the biggest improvements inside is that everything feels much more driver-focused. In a world of downsizing, forced induction, and dual-clutch transmissions, the Viper is as traditional and old-school as it gets. The upper spokes of the steering wheel house a variety of controls never before seen on a Viper, including launch control, cruise control, stability control, voice recognition, and even a driver's information system. On the back of the upper spokes, as in typical Chrysler Group fashion, there's easy-to-use radio controls. Ever since the beginning, Vipers have only been offered with manual transmissions. For the 5th generation, a revised Tremec TR6060 6-speed delivers power to the rear wheels through a GKN Visco lock speed-sensing limited-slip differential. It boasts an entirely new gear set compared to the previous Viper, with 12.5% shorter shift throws and a final drive that was shortened from 3.07 to 3.55. The Viper now has the ability to hit its top speed in 6th gear. To hit top speed in the previous car, you needed to be in 5th, as 6th primarily served as an overdrive gear for reduced fuel consumption while cruising. The TR6060 has quickly become one of my favorite manual transmissions over the past few years. It's durable, smooth, and easy to operate, featuring a nicely weighted clutch and a defined grab point. Of course, it has to be durable to be able to withstand the Viper's 600 pound-feet of torque, the most out of any naturally aspirated automotive engine in the world. By adding a new aluminum flywheel, 11 pounds of weight was dropped. Together with a twin-plate 240mm twin-disc clutch, overall rotating inertia was reduced by 20%, leading to marginally quicker acceleration times and a more free-revving nature. It always provides a solid and precise shift feel similar to the sensation you get with gated manual gearboxes. The ball shift knob is also a nice touch. The height of the shift lever was reduced by nearly 1.6 inches and the center console sits about 1 inch lower than before, improving ease of reach, general shift ergonomics, and comfort quite a bit. The placement definitely feels more natural. All Vipers come standard with an easy-to-use launch control system. By pressing the launch button on the right spoke of the steering wheel, you simply hold the clutch to press the throttle fully and quickly release the clutch. The system holds the engine at optimal launch RPM to achieve controlled wheel spin for the fastest acceleration through 1st gear. So now let's go and flip on the automatic LED accented bifunction HID headlamps as well as the hazards. Both windows are fully automatic. Now let's go and check out the exterior, shall we? The 5th generation Viper is more or less an evolutionary take on its predecessor. There's a handful of shared elements like the windshield, side view mirrors, chassis layout, and the general powertrain configuration, but the new car was so dramatically different as a whole that it might as well be considered an all-new model. Technically, 2013 and 2014 cars are SRT Vipers, not Dodge Vipers. When SRT was positioned as its own brand for a brief period of time, the new Viper was its flagship. It made great strides through the implementation of more advanced, lightweight materials, a significant bump in power, improved fit and finish, and so much more. Initially, the Viper was offered in 2 distinct models, the SRT Viper and the SRT Viper GTS. Each came with their own unique styling touches inside and out, with the GTS being the one with all of the creature comforts, wrapped up in a more refined and luxurious package. The regular SRT Viper was built more for the enthusiasts. It was relatively stripped down to just the bare essentials and came at a lower starting price. Aside from the 2-mode adaptive dampers and multi-mode stability control system on the GTS, the differences between the models were primarily cosmetic. Still to this day, the exterior looks incredible from every angle. It blends all of the traditional Viper proportions with plenty of contemporary elements that focus on reduced weight and greater functionality. There's not a single body panel shared with prior Vipers. Carbon fiber is used for the hood, roof, and trunk lid, while aluminum is used for the doors and side sills. Only the front and rear bumpers and rear quarters are still made from resin-injected molded plastic. The fully boxed frame was reworked too, using a combination of high-strength steels and aluminum, not to mention a one-piece cast magnesium structure for the dash to provide a solid foundation for mounting the steering and pedal box. The latter also spans the width of the car and is one of, if not the largest automotive applications of magnesium out there. Together with the new X-brace in the engine compartment, torsional stiffness was increased by 50%. Overall, engineers were able to remove a little over 100 pounds of weight from the new car. Up front, the cold air intake that's positioned at the edge of the hood was redesigned. It's a styling cue that dates back to the first Viper Coupe back in 1996. Measuring 9 inches by 2 inches, it's larger than the one found in the previous Viper to allow more air to be funneled directly into the engine bay without mixing with the air taken in by the radiator. SRT claimed that the incoming air was only 10 degrees above ambient temperature, leading to more consistent power output. On regular Vipers, flanking each side of the hood are 3 extraction vents that pull heat out of the engine bay and reduce air turbulence. For a more refined and organic look, GTS models have dual extractors and deeper hood recesses that extend back towards the scuttle panel, further emphasizing the hood's power bulge. Bi-xenon projector headlamps are standard on all Vipers, featuring LED turn signals and LED daytime running lights. Together it gives off the appearance of snake eyes. On regular Vipers, the headlamp bezels are semi-gloss black, while the GTS has dark neutral metallic graphite bezels. The lower fascia contains an evolution of the Viper's crosshair grille, incorporating a new V-shape in the middle and hollowed out elements that increase airflow to the radiator. At the edges of the lower grille are gloss black front brake cooling ducts to reduce fade and ensure consistent performance. The new Vipers also do away with fog lamps, instead they're sculpted air inlets at the outer edges of the front fascia. They channel air to, through, and out of the front wheel wells to reduce lift and increase stability when traveling at higher speeds. The side profile is unmistakably Viper, featuring a long hood, low stance, cab-forward silhouette, and large fender gills behind the front tires. The latter also removes air and heat from the engine bay. One of the more unique things about the Viper are the side exhaust pipes, which not only give it a distinct sound, but they look insane and are finished off with cast aluminum sill-mounted exhaust bezels. Paying homage to the original GTS back in 1996, all 5th generation Vipers feature a fixed roof with the classic double bubble shape that allows for more headroom while maintaining a low frontal area, especially useful if you're needing to wear a helmet. Along with stretching the roofline a bit, the rear glass was made flatter. It's also inset with a seal-free edge of glass, just like the windshield, for a more refined look. Behind the side glass, embedded in the B-pillars, are another pair of air ducts that function to cool the rear brakes. Out back, LED tail lamps make their first appearance on a Viper. They each consist of 50 LEDs and feature a snakeskin texture in the lens, similar to what's seen in the gills and hood vents. The black applique that surrounds the tail lamps and license plate is exclusive to the GTS. On the regular Viper, it's body-colored. Beneath each tail lamp is an exhauster port, which extracts air out from underneath the car and rear wheelhouse to relieve positive pressure buildup, again to improve high-speed stability. The rear deck lid sweeps up at its trailing edge to form a sculpted spoiler, while a third brake light is incorporated within the striker emblem. Underneath, a prominent rear diffuser optimizes downforce while minimizing drag. The paint process for the 5th generation Viper is also unique as it's done entirely by hand. Between prepping, painting, and finishing 20 separate body components, it takes between 145 and 160 man-hours to complete. It's without a doubt the deepest, richest, and highest quality paint ever offered on a Viper. The finish is exemplary. Optional racing stripes are also hand-painted. They can take about 18 hours to complete and are buried underneath a top layer of clear coat. Original MSRP for a 2013 Viper was around $101,900, while the GTS commanded $124,990. Both included a $1,995 destination charge and a $2,600 gas guzzler tax. This example, with the Laguna interior package, optional Venom wheels, and an 18-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, came with an original MSRP of $134,590. Nowadays, depending on the mileage and taking into consideration the $15,000 price cut that was implemented for the 2015 model year, a good clean example like this could be had for around $80,000 or so. In 2013, the Viper was offered with 8 different forged aluminum wheel options, 2 of which were exclusive to the $3,500 track package. My car is equipped with the split 6-spoke Venom wheels finished in hyper black paint. Compared to the previous Viper, the front wheels are half an inch wider, now 18 by 10.5 inches, while the 295/30 tires are 20 millimeters wider. These changes also widen the front track by 1.3 inches to 62.9 inches, without any significant changes to the suspension itself. The 19 by 13 inch rear wheels are the same size as before, but the massive 355/30 tires are 10 millimeters wider. With a set of ultra-lightweight wheels and lighter two-piece StockTech rotors, the track package sheds 57 pounds of unsprung weight. With these setups, the Viper is able to stop from 60 miles an hour in about 106 feet or less. Pedal feel is nice and progressive with strong and consistent stopping power. The suspension is composed of aluminum unequal length upper and lower A-arms at each corner, along with new Bilstein shocks, revised spring rates, and hollow front and rear stabilizer bars. The car rides about 0.4 inches lower than before too. With the GTS, the standard fixed-rate dampers are replaced by two-mode monotube Bilstein Damptronic Select shocks. Both street and race modes are routed through two buttons in the center console. In race mode, the dampers firm up to optimize grip from the tires and keep things buttoned down tight around corners. The downside is that the ride becomes very stiff. It's not something I'd recommend if driving on pavement that wasn't already smooth. For those instances, street mode offers the most well-rounded and comfort-oriented road manners as the dampers become more compliant. Spring rates between the standard Viper and the GTS differ by about 10%, with the GTS being the higher rated of the two. Z-rated Pirelli P0s are standard, but with the track package, stickier P0 courses are added. Even without the track package, the regular P0s on my car can easily hold over 1G of lateral acceleration. The brakes consist of 14 by 1.26 inch internally ventilated discs and fixed 4-piston Brembo calipers at each corner. Regular Vipers sport black calipers, while the GTS adds red calipers. Changes to the braking system include a new master cylinder and power brake booster. Changes to the rear suspension include the relocation of the tow control links from behind the rear axle centerline to the front of the axle. Also, the inner pivot of the links uses a tuned bushing to help manage rear toe compliance with respect to lateral load. One of the more significant changes to the 5th generation Viper was the addition of electronic stability control and traction control for the first time. Where the regular Viper has either full on or full off, the GTS has a 4-mode electronic stability system that includes speed sensors at each wheel along with yaw, lateral G-force, and steering wheel angle sensors. There's full on, sport and track modes, and full off. It's all controlled by a small button on the steering wheel adjacent to launch control. Sport mode allows a greater degree of longitudinal and lateral wheel slip before the car ropes you back in. In track mode, traction control is disabled, but there's still some stability control innervation at higher limits. Of course, full off puts everything in your hands. It's activated by holding down the button for about 5 seconds or so. The 4-channel anti-lock braking system always remains active regardless of the mode. Overall length is 175.7 inches with a width of 76.4 inches and a height of 49.1 inches. It rides on a 98.8 inch wheelbase, and the GTS has a curb weight of 3,431 pounds. 50.4% of that weight rides over the rear. The 5th generation Viper is powered by an updated version of its predecessor's 8.4 liter or 512 cubic inch V10. It's the largest engine currently fitted into a production automobile. It sits underneath a clamshell hood that's opened by a grab handle located within the driver's side fender grille. For security purposes, if someone tries to open your hood when the car is locked, it'll sound off the alarm. Improvements to the engine include a significant bump in both power and torque, as well as a 25-pound reduction in weight. It's constructed using an aluminum block with cast iron liners and aluminum heads, featuring a traditional overhead valve design with 10% stiffer push rods, 2 valves per cylinder, variable valve timing on the exhaust side, roller-type hydraulic lifters, and a compression ratio of 10.2 to 1. Fuel continues to be delivered by sequential multi-port injection, and maximum engine speed is 6,400 RPM. Internally, there's new forged aluminum pistons, an aluminum flywheel, lightweight sodium-filled exhaust valves, and a new ultra-high flow composite intake manifold. The latter not only weighs less than the aluminum manifold it replaces, but thanks to superior heat insulation properties, it also lowers the temperature of the air charge. Additional care was taken to reduce internal friction and rotational inertia, along with improving durability and cooling for all cylinders. With 640 horsepower at 6,200 RPM and 600 pound-feet of torque at 5,000 RPM, the new Viper is pushing 40 additional horsepower and torque over its predecessor. Thanks to the low curb weight and revised gearing, it takes just 3.5 seconds to hit 60 miles an hour and 11.5 seconds to pass a quarter mile while traveling 128 miles per hour. Top speed is estimated at 206 miles per hour. To ensure proper oiling in all driving conditions, there's a swinging arm oil pickup that moves relative to the G-forces experienced during tight turns, hard acceleration, and braking. The sensation of speed in this car is hard to describe. It just pulls and pulls, accelerating relentlessly as you approach redline. This experience is compounded by a revised exhaust system that includes freer flowing catalysts that reduce back pressure by 20%. The note is more aggressive yet more refined, as even though they're loud cars to begin with, there's less drone and less vibrations transferred to the interior than before. NVH levels were also improved by using new hydraulic mounts, 2 for the engine and 1 for the transmission. Under harder acceleration, it's a mechanical symphony with an unmistakably raw and unapologetic nature you'd expect from an American super sports car. If the Viper had any downsides, it's going to be fuel economy. It's rated between 12 miles per gallon in the city and 19 miles per gallon on the highway. I've been averaging around 15 miles per gallon. Of course, premium fuel is required and it's held within a 16-gallon tank. To secure the hood, all you have to do is just lower the clamshell and then out the outer edges towards the scuttle panel, apply just a little bit of pressure. It'll then lock in place. Pretty simple, it doesn't take too much effort. In developing the 5th generation Viper, one of the most important areas that needed attention was the interior. Vipers have always been pretty bare bones, and there was always a certain cool factor that came with that simplicity, but where prior cars fell short was overall quality. Now the Viper has been taken up to luxury car status, especially in the posh GTS. The difference is night and day with significantly improved fit and finish, a suite of new technology, and more ways to personalize than ever before. For the first time, all of the major interior surfaces are sewn and wrapped with soft material, with the GTS adding more premium leather upholstery in key comfort areas. There's also a better utilization of space that allows more room for passengers and cargo. Like I said earlier, as refined as this car has gotten, it hasn't forgotten that it's still a Viper. One caveat to the side pipes is that after extended periods of use, the sills get very hot. There's even warning labels to remind unsuspecting passengers that it's a do not touch area. It takes some time to figure out the right way to navigate around the metal plate, but you get used to it. The best thing to do is just wear pants. Again, you wouldn't expect to see a quote-unquote flaw like that on anything nowadays but a Viper. I love all of the little quirks, it's just part of the whole Viper experience. The new racing seats were developed through a collaboration with Sebelt. They feature Kevlar cushions and lightweight fiberglass shells for added durability and weight reduction. Extra headroom is provided by a 0.8-inch lower seating position, while overall seat travel was increased by 3.5 inches, thanks to an extended floor pan that moves the rear bulkhead rearward. For the first time, seat height can be adjusted by up to 1.6 inches. On the regular Viper, the seats are manually adjusting and are wrapped in ballistic fabric and caprice vinyl. Power adjustments and a combination of leather and Alcantara come standard on the GTS. My car has the optional Laguna interior package, which adds premium leather to every conceivable surface, in addition to diamond quilted accents, contrast stitching, an Alcantara headliner, and satin silver trim pieces. Despite the firm padding and aggressive design of the seats, they're actually quite comfortable and definitely easier to climb into than the last Viper. There's good lumbar, lateral, and thigh support to keep you snugged in tight without inducing fatigue over longer trips. The seat backs have flared upper portions for added shoulder support, as well as fixed headrests with embossed Viper lettering. For added comfort, the aluminum pedals are power adjustable fore and aft. The steering wheel is only adjustable for tilt. The seats can even accommodate the use of 6-point racing harnesses. Like I said, with the added interior space, there's even more storage than before, including pockets across the door panels and a generous-sized electrically operated illuminated and damped glove box. In between the seats, there's a new storage bin that can hold quite a lot of stuff, as long as that stuff is relatively small. On the regular Viper, it's an open storage bin with netting. On the GTS, it's enclosed and wrapped in leather. Beneath it, towards the rear of the center console, is a rubber-lined storage tray that also houses the USB, SD, and auxiliary ports. Removable cup holders are standard on the GTS and available on the regular Viper. For added detail, the passenger door and rubber portion of the storage tray feature raised schematics of the Nürburgring and Laguna Seca Raceway to pay homage to the lap records set by the previous generation Viper ACR. Considering the amount of safety technology that's crammed into cars nowadays, the Viper soldiers on with a simple setup of just 2 multi-stage front airbags for the driver and passenger. With the GTS, you also receive some added sound deadening to quiet the interior a bit over the regular Viper.
Alright, so let's go ahead and see how she sounds, both sitting still and on the road. Next, we'll go ahead and shut her up and check out the interior features.
For 2013, the regular Viper came standard with a 9-speaker audio system, while the GTS came with an upgraded 12-speaker Harman Kardon surround sound system with 2 subwoofers. Mine has the upgraded 18-speaker Harman Kardon system with Logic 7 surround sound and 4 subwoofers. It's very powerful with a nice balance between bass and treble. Like I said, at the rear of the console are your media inputs. There's 2 12-volt power outlets, LED illumination throughout the interior, hands-free Bluetooth streaming, and satellite radio. The rear view mirror is auto-dimming and also features roadside assistance. Chrysler's 8.4-inch Uconnect infotainment system is easily one of the best in the business and comes standard in all Viper models. For 2013, navigation was not a standard feature on the regular Viper. It was an option, but it did come standard on the GTS. It's extremely easy to use. All of the main icons are located across the bottom, including climate control, navigation, your SRT and apps, radio, and more. I've talked about Uconnect quite a lot in previous videos, and it's evolved ever so slightly over the years. This one has built-in 3G Wi-Fi, so you can actually set the car up to be a hotspot. There's no heated seats or anything like that, but there's still a vast array of vehicle settings for personalization. The climate control system can be completely controlled from the Uconnect system, and there's some redundant controls in the bottom portion of the console, including front and rear defrost, temperature, and fan speed. With the navigation system, again very simple. You can search local points of interest, check traffic information, access emergency services, and so much more. With the hands-free telephone system, you can join calls, transfer calls, store favorite numbers, and there's even a built-in voice-to-text feature. The SRT and app screen has a lot of different features built in, including SiriusXM Travel Link in the Uconnect store, where you can purchase different Wi-Fi packages and the Uconnect Advantage package, so basically the car will communicate more with your smartphone with different apps that are linked to the system. It'll send vehicle status reports and, other things of that nature. My favorite thing is the SRT performance pages, and it's standard across all SRT vehicles. There's a variety of timers from 0 to 60 to quarter mile braking distances. There's a G-force meter and a variety of different gauges. The Gauges 1 is a little bit more simple, Gauges 2 is a lot more expanded, so you can check on the vehicle's status. The engine screen displays real-time engine data such as vehicle speed, instantaneous horsepower and torque, and oil pressure. The options menu allows you to customize the home screen with a different angle of the car and color. You can also turn the screen off by hitting the little screen off button if you didn't want it on at night. The last big piece of tech within the Viper's interior is the instrument cluster, which incorporates a very comprehensive and detailed driver's information system that's controlled by a little arrow pad on the left-hand spoke of the steering wheel. Along with just having a simple tachometer being displayed, you can bring up a variety of vehicle information displays, fuel economy information, trip information, not to mention, you can set up the screen to display different things in the top portion. Right now I have vehicle temperature and oil temperature, all of the different performance displays. You can run diagnostics and enter a hibernation mode if you were going to store the car for an extended period of time.
Now let's go and shut her down. We'll go check out trunk space.
Being that the trunk lid is made of carbon fiber, it's very lightweight and easy to use. Inside, you'll find a surprising amount of cargo space for such a hardcore sports car. It's 14.65 cubic feet worth. You have a pretty good sized shelf, but towards the rear you have a big wide portion that could probably easily accommodate a set of golf clubs. To the left-hand side is actually a tire inflation kit because, of course, the Viper does not have a spare tire, and on the right side you have a little bit of a deeper storage well for securing some smaller items. Everything is wrapped in premium carpeting, and there's LED illumination so you can see easier at night. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the SRT Viper GTS. Be sure to stay tuned next time and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.